Hi, in Biochemistry Bits, in our reasoning out question series, this is episode 10. The question is, competitive inhibition is reversible. Justify the statement with an example. This is a question taken from TN MGR University examinations for first MBBS in Biochemistry subject. Though the question does not seem like a reason out question, the points which are expected will be those of competitive enzyme inhibition. Okay, so what is a competitive enzyme inhibition? The inhibitor molecule will resemble exactly the substrate. So natural substrate will be a perfect fit and it will bind to the active site of the enzyme. Here the lock is the enzyme and the key is the substrate. So it is a perfect fit in the active site. Okay, whereas the inhibitor, a competitive inhibitor, will have a structural similarity to that of the natural substrate and it will go and bind to the inhibitor at the active site and it will block the active site. The question was about reversibility of this competitive enzyme inhibition. That is because of two major things. One is the inhibitor binds with the enzyme via weak non-covalent bonds. That is one reason. Other reason, in case you want to increase the substrate concentration, see all the green keys are the substrates and the red keys are the inhibitors. Increase in the substrate concentration, a lot of green keys, then the probability of the substrate going and binding to the active site is higher and obviously the inhibitor will not be able to bind to the enzyme. And the question also asked a classic example to be discussed. So best example is succinate dehydrogenase enzyme inhibited by malonate. Malonate is a competitive enzyme inhibitor of succinate dehydrogenase. So you can see how it resembles structurally the succinate. So now if you're going to increase the succinate concentration, malonate will not be able to inhibit succinate dehydrogenase. In addition, you need to understand the kinetics behind competitive inhibitors. So two things you have to remember: Vmax is unchanged and apparent Km increases. So Vmax unchanged, Km increases. This is a hallmark of a Lineweaver-Burke plot of competitive enzyme inhibition. Okay, so just to summarize, if you see, competitive enzyme inhibitor should be a structural analog to that of the substrate. It binds to active site, weak non-covalent bonds. That is why it is reversible and it can be fully reversed by increasing your substrate concentration. And remember, in a competitive enzyme inhibition, Vmax is unchanged and Km is increased. So in addition, have a small clinical reality here. In case of methanol poisoning, we give ethanol because both of them compete together for the same enzyme.